What's going on, everybody? James here from Artificial Entertainment, and today I'm going to show you how to be able to make a dynamic camera system for your character inside of Unreal Engine 5. So let's go ahead and dive in. Alright, so we are here in Unreal Engine 5.4 using the third-person template, and like I said, we're going to be making a dynamic camera system. So this isn't going to be just a go to A, go to B, we're going to give it a bunch of values that you can then add to and control very easily. So we're going to need to make a data asset, well I guess really a structure. And then we're going to be using a timeline to control that. So let's go ahead and we're going to make the data first, just to get that out of the way. So we're going to right click, new folder. I'm just going to make one called the camera. And then inside of the camera folder, I'm going to make another folder, the right click, new folder, and call this data. Now, if we open up the data file here, or the data folder, we're going to go ahead and make a structure. So if we go to right click and blueprint, and then click on structure right here, we can name s_camera data, or obviously, whatever you want to name it as. But essentially, this is just going to be the data for our camera movement. Now, if we go ahead and add a variable here, because we want two of them, the first one is going to be a transform, and the second one is going to be a boolean. So we can change it just by clicking on the drop down there. And then for the names here, you can set them to whatever you want. I'm going to take the first one, name this transform, because this is going to be where our camera is going to go. And this one is going to be the duration it's going to take. So I'm just going to name that duration. And then we'll save that, close, and then that's all for the data. So now from here, we're going to go into our character. So for me, that's the third person, blueprints, and then the BP third person character. Now, before we start, I do like to make a graph specifically for this because I don't know why, but for some reason, cameras, I always like doing that. So we're going to go to my blueprint section, graphs, and then click on the little new graph option, name this camera graph. Bam. So this way we have a nice fresh graph just for our camera. And then we're going to add two things to it. The first one's going to be a custom event. And this one, we're just going to name update camera position. And then we're going to right click again and add a timeline. So we can see if we type in timeline down here at the bottom, add timeline. Now for the timeline name, we can just name this camera timeline just like so. And then we'll double click to open it up. Now within here, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to click on track, add float track, and we're going to make sure to set the length to 1. And then we're going to hold shift and left click a couple of times just to give us 2 points. This first point needs to be at time 0 and value 0. The second point is going to be at time 1, value 1. So just like that. And we're doing this because this way we can make a very simple scaler that we can use to control how long it's going to take and make this adjustable. So now from here, you can put everything inside of your graph. I like making functions for this though. So we're going to go to our functions tab now, and we're going to create a new function, and this is going to be get camera positions. So this way we can get our updated position as well as our current position. And this is very important because we're going to be using lerps. So inside of here, we're going to right click, and we're going to go to the components first, and we're going to get our camera boom and our follow camera. Now, one thing to note is that we're going to be using the camera boom's options to be able to do a lot of the movement. And the reason being is because inside of the viewport here, if I click on the camera boom and we go into the details here, you'll see that we have the target arm length, which a lot of people, we use this for standard forward and back movements. However, I've seen a lot of people do something like where they take the camera and they move it off to the side or they move it up. And then from here, it's now offset away from the camera boom. This means that the collisions and certain other things are not going to feel appropriate. So the best way to do this is actually in the camera boom under the socket offset. Because I can set this, for example, on the Z, I can set this to 60, and you can see that the camera's moved up, but so did the actual spring arm that's controlling the camera's sort of offset, I guess. And the same thing goes with the left and right. We can go left by using the Y. So we're going to use the X and Y for the socket offset for the up, down, left, right movement, and then the target arm length for the forward, back movement, and then we're just going to feed a rotation value to that follow camera. So this is sort of the structure, I guess, for how to be able to make sure your camera movements feel natural and don't offset anything as far as perspectives. So with all that out of the way though, let's go ahead and we're going to go into our function here. So this is our get camera position function that we just made. And we're going to make two variables. First one's going to be, and they're both going to be transforms, by the way. This first one's going to be our current, and then this one's going to be our updated. So this is where we want to go to. So if we take in current, we're actually going to get the set node here, and then we're going to split the pin. Now you don't necessarily need to do this by saving a local variable. I just like to. But then for the camera boom, we're going to pull off and get target arm length, pull off of the camera boom again, get socket offset, and then we're going to break the socket offset. So if you right click on the little yellow pin here, we can split the struct pin. Now we're going to do the same thing for the current location here. So we're going to right click on the current location, split the struct pin, and then the target arm length is going to go into X, and then the Y and Z are going to get plugged in just like this. Now the reason why I do this is because it makes it so everything is in one single value. X is the forward and back, and then Y and Z for left, right, up, down. Now, as far as rotation goes, we're going to grab the follow camera and we're going to get the relative rotation. This is very important. We don't want to get the world rotation. We just want the relative rotation. So there we go. So now we have our current position. The next thing we're going to want to get is our updated position. Now this one, we're going to use that data structure that we just created in the earlier part of the video. So we're going to go to our variables tab here, right click or add a new variable with this little plus symbol, and we're going to call this camera data, and then change it from a transform to the camera data struct that we made earlier. Now on its own right here, it's just going to give you one single value. We want to make it so we have multiple values. So before we actually compile, we're going to go up to the variable type in the details panel, click on this little drop down and change it from single to array. This way we have a list, and then compile and save, and you'll see now we can add as many of these as we want. So the next thing we're going to do is I'm just going to go into the get camera positions inputs here. So if we click on this and then go into the details, inputs, little plus symbol, because I actually am going to give it the index I want to use from within this function. So camera type index, just like that. Because then we can grab our camera data, dragging it in. And if you, just a little trick, if you drag something in and hold control, you'll get the get node. If you do the same thing with alt, you'll get the set node. But we're going to pull out the camera data here, and we're going to get a reference, and then we're going to plug in that camera type index. Now, one thing that's also pretty cool that I actually will admit I just learned about recently, at least within Blueprint, I obviously knew this was something you generally do in C++, but we can also just type in camera type index here, and it gets the same value. So we don't even need that to drag it off of the function or out to the input there. We can just grab its variable, which these two are the exact same thing. This is the same thing as plugging it in directly. It's just getting a reference to it. But then we'll go ahead and break the camera data here. And there we go. So now we got our transform and our duration. So we're actually just going to recombine the struct pin here because we don't need to change and have it split there like that. And there we go. So now if we go to the get camera positions, we're going to add an output here. And we're going to add 3 of them actually. The first 2 are going to be transforms. And then the second or the last one is going to be a float, because we're going to get it the current, the updated, and we're actually going to make sure just so that way naming conventions aren't an issue. We're just going to type in out at the beginning of these and then out duration. Bam. So just like that. And then we'll take duration, plug it in there, and then get the current and the updated just like this. So now what we're doing is we just created a simple function to go ahead and give us, okay, we want to know where we're at currently, and we want to know where it is we're trying to go based off of whatever we've input that into that index, which for those of you who don't know, this is just a standard array listing. So if we create, for example, 2 values, this would be index 0, this is index 1 as it says. So if we put 0 or 1, it'll change which one of these values it's going to select. So there we go. So now we've got our get camera positions. Now we're just going to create another function. This one's going to be move camera. So this is going to be the actual movement function. And then we're going to kind of do the opposite, where we're going to put 2 transforms on the input of current and updated. And then we're going to put another float value here. And this one's going to be the lerp alpha, which this is, the lerp alpha is going to be something we're going to get from our timeline. So don't worry, this isn't going to be like something complicated. It's very, very simple. So all we need to do now though is lerp transform. So we're just going to type that in with the right click here. And then current is going to be A, updated is going to be B, and then lerp alpha into alpha, because then we can break the transform here and then just do the same thing we did in reverse. So we're going to grab our camera boom and our follow camera, and we're going to set target arm length, set socket offset. And then off the follow camera, we're going to set relative rotation. Again, remember, we want to make sure to be working within relative space, not world space. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and just kind of move these around a little bit and then plug these in. So the target arm length here is going to be location. We're going to right click, split the struct pin, and plug in on X. And then for Y and Z for the socket offset. Now I did this earlier and it took me a minute to realize what I had done. Make sure that you are using the socket offset and not the target offset. Otherwise, your results will look really weird. It took me about 5 minutes on a last record to realize I had used the target instead of socket. So I'm just saying it for those of you who might run into this issue. And then the relative rotation here, we're just going to put that at the end and then plug in the new rotation. There we go. Bam. So now we have a function that's going to move our camera, and we have another function that's going to give us where we want to move to. So this is perfect. So now if we go back to our camera graph that we made, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to grab our get camera positions here, and then we're going to plug the execution here into play from start. And then we're going to grab the move camera, put it into updated, and then out current, and then updated. And then for the lerp alpha here, we're going to get that float track that we made on this timeline, and we're going to plug it in to there just like that. Now, the last thing we need to do is we need to get this duration, because you see we have that out duration pin, but we haven't done anything with it yet. So very easy to do. If we go into our My Blueprint section under the variables components, you'll see this camera timeline value, or whatever you named it as. If you drag it into your graph, pull off, and we go play rate, we're going to set the play rate. But we're not going to do a direct one-to-one, right? Because this duration is going to be how long we want it to take. This isn't going to be essentially how long on a multiplier of 1. So to get around that, we're going to pull off, get a divide node, make sure this is plugged in on the bottom pin though, and the top one is going to be 1. So this way it'll take whatever this is, divide it by 1, and give us that proper rate value. Just like that. So now the last thing, we just need to give it some sort of index and some camera data. So if we go into our camera data here, now what I recommend is the index 0 being whatever your baseline, your default. Just because it does provide a little bit of an easier, so you can just go index 0 whenever you want to return back to a non like sprinting or crouching or some other sort of camera state. So for me, location, so the X, which again is the target arm length. So for me, my default is 300 and I don't have any left, right, or up and down or any rotation. So we're going to leave all that off and we'll set it to a value of 0.2 because that's how long I want it to take. And then for this one, we'll set it to, I guess, sort of like an aiming position. So we'll go 150 units in, we'll go 60 units off to the shoulder, and then again, we'll take this as 0.2. Now, the last thing, this is more for demonstrative purposes. So I don't want you guys to think this is a necessary part. This is just more because I want to make sure to show you guys how this is going to work. So if I plug this in here like this, we're just going to use a flip-flop, and then I'm going to make a simple integer value, make that as a single, and then we're going to go selection index. And then we'll go off of A and B. Now, I guess I really could have used that is A value just to switch it, but, you know, why make things easier? But anyways, for this top one here, I'm just going to set this to 1. So what'll happen is because of the fact that my index 1 in my camera data is this one here, so where we're going in shorter, and then we're going off to the side, and then 0, which is my default, is sending it back to the 300 with 0 offset. So then we'll just take that selection index and plug it in just like this. I'll show you guys, you know, obviously how to be able to do this with your own data. I just want to show you guys it working. So just to recap, we've gone through and said, okay, we want to get our camera positions and where we want to go. And then we're going into our timeline after setting its play rate based off of whatever that duration is, going in and moving the camera to those locations. So if we go ahead and save and hit play, if I press E, oh, we haven't actually set up an input. That's right. Okay. So back to our player character, go into the event graph here. I'm going to go keyboard event E, and then off of press, we're going to do update camera position. So now press E, you can see we go in, then press E again, we go back out. So you can see we are now transferring between those two locations. Now I could obviously set up much more locations here, like we can set up as many as we want, and then have it select between them. So an example of this would be a lot of people might use movement modes to be able to select different things. So if we pull off the character movement, get movement mode, and then we do a pull off and do a select, we can now set a value for which one of these camera positions we want to use based off of this by just right clicking on the return value, change pin type, and change it to an integer. And there we go. So now whenever we're walking versus flying, or, you know, maybe you have your own custom movement stuff, like this is just an example using the base movement mode. You could use any enum you want. You could even make your own custom camera one where maybe it's sprint camera versus crouch camera versus aim crouch camera. So all of that's entirely up to you. The selections of what you use for positions, there's about 1,001 different ways you can go about doing that. But this is realistically all you need to be able to make a really nice, simple camera system where we can have different values held within our little structure here. And then these two functions, or these two functions here, the move camera and get camera positions, are going to be what controls everything. Now, there's one last thing that I wanted to note within the system though. So if I go ahead and press E quite a few times, oh, forgot to swap back to the selection index here. But if I go ahead and press E, you can see it moves pretty nicely, but there might be sometimes where it'll kind of jitter a little bit. And something you can do, this isn't a necessary piece, as you saw, the movement there was really nice, but we can go ahead and just go block camera or, whatever you want as far as naming goes. And then if this is true, we don't want to do anything. But if it's false, we'll go ahead and we'll set the block camera to true. And then once it's finished, we'll set it back to false. And what this will do is make it so that way it'll wait until the camera's been moved before I can do this again. You see now I can't spam it. It goes to its position and then allows me to change. Now, one thing to note is that with aiming and things like that, things that are like input based, this can lead to some problems. So as far as when you block, that's entirely up to you, and it's just a secondary step I wanted to show you guys for those who are curious on how to control them. But one thing to note is that, again, if you're trying to aim and then go backwards, you might have to set some sort of hold condition. But that's really it, guys. This is a really simple, easy camera system that you can go ahead and set up, and we can add as many of these as you want. You can set them up for cinematic camera placements, maybe for some vehicle driving options, whole bunch of stuff. You can even have different structures here. So like maybe this one is, instead of camera data, we can go base camera data, right? And then I can go another one and go vehicle camera data. So that way different vehicles, I might have different camera perspectives when possessing, but I still want to use the same camera, There's a lot of different ways that you can go about using this, and again, it's just entirely up to you. But I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys learned something. If you guys have any questions, concerns, or comments, or anything you want to add on, feel free to leave a comment. I also have a Discord channel that I manage, so if you guys are curious in joining up on the community, feel free. I'll make sure to leave a link in the description. But that's going to be all in there for now, guys, until the next one, so stay tuned, and as always, stay animated.